Melinda from Alexis and Melinda's Art Space. Another art journal page today. It's all I seem to do lately. Must get back into my scrapbooking one day. I'm working my Altered Atlas book, just putting down a coat of gesso. So gesso will prime my page, and then whatever I add on top will work a lot better. Plus, what I want to do is just cover up the text on the book, the maps. Sometimes I let the maps show through. This time I didn't really want to, so I covered it with white gesso. So that gesso is from Aldi. Quite a few years ago they had gesso and texture paste stuff out with their paints, and they were really good value. I hope they do it again. So it was like $3 a tub, and it was really good stuff. Just about on the tail end of it, not fair. So just mucking around, didn't really know what I was doing. This layout sort of came about and was done in early March when the virus was starting to sort of take off in Australia. So just working out a few of my feelings and just wanted to play. I do some journaling at the end of it. So these are some new paints I bought from Lincraft when they had 40% off. They're Semco brands and they're quite translucent. Not what I was expecting from the paints. I'd had Semco before and they were quite opaque. Didn't actually say on the packaging they were translucent. But I love the colours, and Alexis and I picked out some really cool colours. And I will use them just for a different purpose than what I intended to buy them for. We sort of bought them more for gel plating because we were getting down on our colours, trying to use up a lot of old stuff. That's what I've been trying to do the last couple of years and get everything organised. And sort of put all my paints together, all my gessos and gel mediums and that together, so we can start using up some of the older stuff and go and purchase new stuff. So we grabbed these paints for gel plating mainly, but because they're translucent, they won't work as well. I'll give them a try though. They could be pretty cool. I do like the translucency of them. They were fun to play with. It's hard when you buy brands of paint that you haven't seen someone use on YouTube before or haven't used yourself. So just drying off the layers. I do like how the colours, when I put the the pink on the blue, it sort of made a purple colour. So when you overlap them, you sort of got a bit of colour mixing, because I was drying the layers in between. So I grabbed one of my swirly shell stencils. I make and design in my store. My website's always linked below. And decided to stencil on the yellow just to give it a pattern. So I didn't really know what I was going to do when I started this page. I sort of had an idea. I just wanted to play with these paints and see what they were like and go from there. So lots of drying in the mixed media pages. Just because I didn't want the paint there, I'm tapping my fingers, I don't know what I'm going to do. Then I pulled out some fluoro paints. These are Micador Kids paints. I bought them because they were fluoro quite a while ago, and I've been seeing a couple of YouTubers add fluoro paint, obviously not this brand, a better brand, to their work, and it sort of really pumps up the colour and really illuminates the colour. So I thought I would give that a go, and I really like the effect, so we'll be using those a bit more. Again, they're translucent fluoro colours, so they're not opaque, so they don't cover up what's underneath, so you can still see the stenciling and that underneath. And that one is actually a metallic blue that I put on now. The first two were just fluoros, and that's a metallic sort of fluoro. So I do like trying out different brands of paint and different things, especially when I see them on sale or on discount. Bit of a sucker for a discount. Trying to only buy what I need lately. This whole staying at home thing has curtailed my shopping, which my credit card's been quite thankful for, but I have been online shopping a little. But sort of online shopping, I get to think about it a bit more. So here I've just cut a bust or a person out of a sheet of paper and decided to use it as a stencil. I had an idea of putting all these heads around in a circle, but then made my sort of busty person too big. So I ended up just putting 4 on. So just stenciling around with a different paint. So that paint is more of a heavy body paint because I wanted to cover up the coloured background, so only the colour reflected in the shapes. So if you're doing this technique, the paint you use over the top needs to be more of a heavy body opaque paint. So just filling in the detail and filling in between the figures that I stenciled down. So I believe this paint was from, could have even been from like a Spotlight years and years ago. Some of my paints are, yeah, almost 10 years old. That's really, really embarrassing, isn't it? Hence why I'm trying to get them used up. I do apologise for quite a bit of glare on the pages with the metallic paint, and that I'm getting a fair bit of glare, and also the wet paint tends to glare off as well. So I'm quite happy with the page, with the 4 heads sort of in between. Looks a bit abstracty. You can still sort of see their people. So just drying off the paint. I could have easily done this with black gesso. Black would have really look nice, or really dark, deep, like a Payne's grey, dark grey colour. But I thought the blue would look really cool as well. So this fine line has got sort of watered down black paint in it. Come in a class kit years and years ago, and Alexis and I have used it so much. It is nearly on its last legs, but I've managed to get some out of it. I will be refilling it with some watered down black paint, because I do like the idea of having a fine tip to write and to draw and scribble on. I have some, what's it called? A flow medium I will be adding to a bit of black paint and filling it up. I might also make a white one. Maybe I'll make a video on that, because I do have some empty little fine liner bottles. You do buy these little bottles empty, and then you can fill them with some liquid glues as well if you want a really fine tip glue. The thing that stops them from clogging is there's actually a needle in the cap. You can just see it in my hand, and when you put that back through like the straw that the paint comes out of, it allows it not to block up between uses. And this has had probably 6 months between uses, and it's still good to go every time we open it up. I love these bottles. They're a little pricey, but they're fantastic. I bought some a while ago. I just haven't got around to making up the paint. As I said, I might do that in a video. That would be fun to do. So just drying that off again. Because it comes out quite thick, it does take a little time to dry. Now I'm doing some journaling, just some feeling journaling about current day with this. I don't like to mention it too much. Everyone's sort of mentioning it with the virus and everything that's going on. Alexis and I are safe and hungry down at home a lot more. We're not going out unless it's absolutely necessary, as is most people in Australia, I should say. So just journaling about my feelings with my very messy handwriting, turning the book around so I can sort of journal around the people. So quite happy how this one turned out. So quite happy how this sort of page turned out. Just going in and finding a black fine liner. And when you're doing this sort of journaling, you have to make sure your paint is completely dry. Otherwise you can actually ruin the nibs of your pens. So I actually left this for several hours, and sometimes some pens don't write over a shiny surface anyway. These paints had a little bit of a shine to them, as you can sort of see in the reflections we're getting from the lights. So I just scribbled journaling it to the people, just about feelings, just about how things are going, and having a lot of difficulty with government departments. I'll just put it at that. It doesn't matter which government department it is. I just have issues with them. I don't know. I'm never in their correct box. I'm always floating around somewhere else. Do you ever find that? Never in their correct box, or can never tick the correct box for our situation. It's funny. So this was a super quick art journal page. Only took me about 45 minutes all up, including the drying time. So I took some still photos at the end, and I do apologise, they're not the best, but this page is quite shiny because acrylic paint has a bit of a shine to it, and my lights weren't playing nice that day. So thank you for watching, and leave us a comment, like, subscribe, and do all that fun stuff. That helps my YouTube channel grow. Hopefully we'll hit 1,000 subbies soon. It's creeping up there closer and closer. We'll get there one day. We'll have a big party. Yay! Thanks for watching. Bye for now.